Welcome to the Black Gay History Channel. Please share this video and subscribe to this channel for more captivating content. Many West African countries' governments like Ghana, Senegal, and Nigeria have recently gone out of their way to criminalize gay sex and LGBTQ people. What makes this so reprehensible is that there are clear historical and scientific facts to prove that gay people have been a part of African society for thousands of years and pose no threat to society. But West African leaders hide behind their religious doctrine and sadly are supported by many of these countries' citizens. Yet one fact West Africans can never deny is that gay identities are indeed a part of our own history, especially prior to European colonization. Even those of us who descend from the transatlantic slave trade come from many of these ethnic groups, but are still raised in our own homophobic societies in Europe, the Caribbean, and the Americas. So despite what lies are told to us, gay identities are a part of our history, and we have every right to celebrate our gay African history. Here's just a quick list of 5 West African terms that denote gay identities. Wobi. Wobi is the Ivorian term for the effeminate partner between two men who plays the role of the quote-unquote woman and wears dresses. Côte d'Ivoire, or the Ivory Coast, is a French-speaking West African nation that is home to some of West Africa's most progressive cities for LGBTQ rights, particularly Abidjan. And the term Wobi has been used to denote gay men for years. For many years, an annual drag pageant for gay men and trans women, the Miss Wobi pageant, is hosted in Abidjan and is celebrated as one of the premier events for the LGBTQ community in the entire country. According to Wikipedia, Wobi Chérie is a 1998 Ivorian documentary that shows a few days in the life of various members of the gay and transgender community in Abidjan. At the time of its release, it was one of the very few films from Africa to deal with LGBTQ issues. Yandaudu. In the Hausa ethnicity of Nigeria and many other West African countries, the word Yandaudu is a word which denotes a lifestyle of having physical intimacy with men, as well as wearing women's clothing and using women's pronouns. It is common for Yandaudu to still marry women and have their own children. The Yandaudu, which has been recorded by historians in Nigeria as an indigenous subset of the Hausa people, are one of the few sexual minority groups of the Islamic world. Most Yandaudu identify as men, but the spectrum of gender varies from person to person. Though all Yandaudu were assigned male at birth, some consider themselves men, while many are beyond the male spectrum and are considered culturally outside of the bounds of male and female. The Yandaudu, though seen as a part of Hausa society, are still considered somewhat outcast and are able to function in Nigerian life by working with and collaborating with Nigerian women who also may be marginalized. Yandaudu are known to work as sex work curators or pimps, but can also be known to sell their goods like food and clothing during parties and celebrations. Kimbanda. The word Kimbanda originates in the Central and West African countries of Angola, Gabon, and the Congos, and is noted by historians as the term used throughout the famed Congo Kingdom, which meant feminine men and literally translates to grandmother. This term, which has many different spellings and pronunciations like Ganga Chibanda, would even spread the term's use to descendants in the Americas, particularly Brazil. The term Kimbanda describes the receptive partner in male intimate acts, as well as a man who dresses feminine. But this term was also used particularly in the Congo Kingdom to denote gay spiritual leaders and medicine men who were called grandmother as a sign of respect for their leadership role in their society. Goor-Degen. In Senegal, Wolof gay men in particular use the name Goor-Degen, which translates to men-women. In other words, men who behave and dress femininely. The fact that this word was used among the Wolof is important because the Wolof are the most populous ethnic group in Senegal. In an account of observing gay life in Senegal, a sociologist named Geoffrey Coeur in 1930 encountered Wolof men who were called Goor-Degen, saying, quote, "They do not suffer in any social way except the Mohammedans who refuse them burials," end quote. Several other historians did note that this identity was less tolerated in the Senegalese countryside, but the gay men seemed to blend into the larger urban cities. Plus, this term Goor-Degen could apply to both the top and the bottom in same-sex acts between men. Agiale. While the term agyale doesn't denote just one person, in older Ghanaian societies, agyale was a friendship marriage that could take place between two men. The Nzema people that have resided in Ghana and the Ivory Coast for hundreds of years are well documented to at one time practice agyale or friendship marriages. This tradition would allow older men and younger men to marry, usually with an age difference of roughly 10 years between them. The men would even hold most of the same marriage rights within their community that heterosexual partners held, and there was even a bride price that had to be paid by the older gentleman to the younger man's parents for the marriage.